Aise pacho mwaka usipatiki tuoni mfuasi megata. Nenda kadrafuta ile pampu ya maji inaitwa Manemeka. Acha mambo ya kisamani.
Usisubiri mvua, kuna pampu ya Manemeka.
Rapper Mr. Ebo sings about the virtues of a best-selling product that's transforming the lives of tens of thousands of poor African farmers. The product is the Moneymaker irrigation pump of Kickstart, a nonprofit organization that's been working in East Africa for the past 17 years.
Kickstart's mission is to take millions of families out of poverty in Africa. And we want to do this at the least cost and in the most sustainable way and as quickly as possible.
In business since 1991, Kickstart's success is impressive. More than 300,000 people moved out of poverty in Kenya, Tanzania, and Mali. 70,000 new enterprises created using Kickstart's tools. $77 million of new profits and wages generated annually. All at a cost of $300 per family to get them out of poverty forever. How do they do this? Co-founder Martin Fisher explains.
We design and mass market very low-cost equipment, which we sell to very poor local entrepreneurs who buy it and establish highly profitable small businesses.
Fisher and his co-founder Nick Moon have been working in Africa for more than 20 years. They started Kickstart to develop and promote simple money-making tools that poor Africans could use to start their own profitable businesses.
Time is in abundance, labor is cheap, but it's capital which is very, very expensive and sometimes impossible to obtain. So we need to develop technologies which are labor intensive, low capital. And that way, small-scale farmers, small-scale business people, entrepreneurs can take advantage of what they have.
Kickstart's first product was a tool for making building blocks. It's a manual press that can produce 500 bricks a day using soil and cement. Next, Kickstart engineers designed a manually operated oilseed press to produce cooking oil from sunflower and sesame seeds. The object? To create small, local, money-making businesses. But their biggest success has been the Moneymaker irrigation pumps.
So this is our super Moneymaker pump, and we have a hose pipe that goes from the pump down into the well, or down into any other water source. It could be a river, a lake, a pond, and it can be as deep as 25 feet deep. And then out the other side, we have a hose pipe under pressure that goes to the field. And this could be hundreds of meters long, or could go up a hill as high as another 25, 30 feet vertical. And you can irrigate over 2.5 acres with this pump. And we wanted to have a small, lightweight, portable pump that a farmer could buy in a shop and carry home, and very often on foot, sometimes on the back of a bicycle, that they could take home to their farm. The farmers don't have any tools, and so the whole thing has to be able to be taken apart with your hands, replace the spare parts, assembled by the farmer on his farm with no training, and so the farmer knows how to use it. It has to be very, very intuitive. And then it has to be strong enough to accommodate even a very, very large operator. You need the thing to be extremely durable. You want it to last for a long time. And of course, at the same time, you have to keep the costs as low as you can so that we keep the final price down for the farmers. Because these are extremely poor farmers, and a $100 pump is a huge portion of their income. So we said, what's the cheapest pump we could design? So this is our Moneymaker hip pump. And this pump retails in Kenya at $34. And we say in our advertisements that you can irrigate 1.25 acres with it. In fact, we have farmers who are irrigating as much as 2.5 acres even with this small pump.
Irrigation is the key to prosperity in sub-Saharan Africa. Only 4% of the arable land here is irrigated. With pumps like the Moneymaker, yields can soar up to 400%, and farmers can harvest cash crops throughout the year. James Mwangi Nganga is one happy customer. A few years ago, Jimmy, as he's known to his friends in the Thika district in Kenya, got into the flower business. He knew he could sell his flowers to an exporter, but he needed a way to water his farm. Then he saw an ad for the Moneymaker irrigation pump. He borrowed some money and bought the pump. He increased his flower production and boosted his cash income. Then he started a teen nursery with 15,000 seedlings. His earnings have enabled Jimmy to pay school fees for 2 children and buy a cow. Jimmy says owning the pump is the best thing that ever happened to him.
On average, a family's making over $1,000 in new profits from using this irrigation pump. And these are families that typically, before they buy the pump, have been living on an annual salary, an annual family income of about $500 or $600 a year. So now they have an additional $1,000, so they're doubling or tripling their family income. And so this literally takes them from below the poverty line into the middle class.
Designing inexpensive human-powered pumps for poor rural farmers in East Africa has challenged Kickstart engineers. But the most innovative and controversial feature of Kickstart as a nonprofit is that it sells its products instead of giving them away.
We sell things instead of giving them away because, frankly, giving things away is unfair. How do I decide whether I give to you or whether I give to you? Unless I have enough to give to everybody, it's intrinsically unfair because I'm somehow making this decision who to give it to. On top of that, it's completely unsustainable because after I do this at great cost and I walk away from it, when you need another pump because yours finally breaks down after 3 or 4 years or you need a spare part, where are you going to go to get that? You're going to wait for me to come back and give you another one? And finally, giving things away really kills initiative because it's not something that you wanted, you don't have any skin in the game. It's just like today, if somebody gives you a present, you very likely put it in a drawer because it wasn't something you really wanted. But if you actually buy something, you have an empowered feeling.
The poor have almost been influenced by the fact that things should be for free because they're poor. And so because things are free, they're usually second rate. They're usually poor tools for poor people. And what Martin and Nick have done with Kickstart is say the poor need better tools than rich people because they have much bigger challenge to actually make a living out of the kinds of, farming that they do.
So what we do is we establish a private sector supply chain where you have manufacturers who produce the equipment and make a profit, you have wholesalers who distribute it and make a profit, and you have retailers who sell it and make a profit. And as I said, we have about 450 of these retailers, so they're in every location, close to where the farmers are. And so everybody in this supply chain is now very much motivated in order to make it work.
We must take a business-like approach to the business of development. Otherwise, we're going to be locked forever in this cycle of handouts and giveaways and sort of bleeding heart social welfare programs.
The biggest single hurdle facing Kickstart is convincing Africa's poor, risk-averse farmers to invest in a new technology that costs them a large percentage of their annual income.
And to do that, we have to be very, very innovative in our marketing efforts. So we use everything from live demonstrations in front of the retail shops, where we actually mount a pump where you can get on and pump and actually test drive these pumps and pump water, and the farmers, as they go by, can try that. We do community demonstrations, and we have something we call a pumping competition, for example, where we will mount a couple of our pumps on the back of a pickup truck and a couple of big drums, and we'll invite people up from the crowd in a local marketplace. And we do it very much like a game show, so they'll be randomly selected from the crowd, and they come up and they compete to see who can fill the bucket quickest on these 2 pumps. And we get a big crowd around, and this is a way we use to promote the pump. We have a major marketing campaign we're doing, one which is Farming is My Business. We have to make farming aspirational. In general, in East Africa, farming is not aspirational. And when you do badly in school, your teacher will tell you, you're going to be a farmer when you grow up. But we have to say, look, 80% of the poor are farmers. Farming is a place you can make a lot of money. Let's make it aspirational. Farming is my business is our campaign.
Before starting Kickstart, both Fisher and Moon had worked on a number of failed African development projects. So they realized from the very beginning that the new organization needed to measure the actual impact it was having.
So we visit them, and we've developed tools by which we can measure their socioeconomic profile. And then 18 months later, we'll go back and see them again. And so we're able to track the changes that take place in their lives.
And so this way we can really track the impacts of what we do. And that's why we know the number of families that we've really taken out of poverty.
Having made an impact in Kenya and Tanzania, Martin and Nick are ready to scale up their activities.
In the next 3 years, we're hoping to expand into 3 more countries. We're presently working in Kenya, Tanzania, Mali, and just a small corner of Burkina Faso, but now want to take our technologies to all the places where they could have huge potential. So that's our plan for the future.
They have identified a big opportunity to provide a good that is not being provided by many of the big multinationals that sell technologies because it's too risky. I mean, they're not going to make a profit in that particular population that they're selling. And Kickstart is identifying that is the market we want to be in. That market where nobody will go in so that we can actually lift these people up to a different level of living, a different standard of living. They're extremely ambitious. They want nothing more than to create a massive middle class in Africa.